But here is Jonathan Turley, who never heard of a Trump accusation that he thought was completely without merit until Trump facing these 31 counts of willful retention of national defense information. And here's clip number one of Turley on Fox News in the morning, or I should say in the afternoon, and then he comes back later in the day, I think it is, to reiterate.
The president goes on to say, well, what happens if we just don't respond at all to the subpoena, I guess, or don't play ball with them? The president goes on to say, wouldn't it be better if we just told them we don't have anything here? Well, look, isn't it better if there are no documents?
We should say that is the transcript, apparently, of recordings they have of Trump, more or less saying, I'm guilty, but what is there a way for us to hide the fact that I'm guilty?
Yeah,
I mean,
as somebody who went and listened to a lot of the Nixon tapes, Nixon knew he was being recorded and was a lot more like obscure in the way he would formulate these things. He wouldn't be like, hey, look at this. This is top secret. You can't look at this.
Amazing. But go ahead.
Just told them we don't have anything here. Well, look, isn't it better if there are no documents? They've got these conversations that were memorialized by the president's attorneys. There's also this recording of him where he talks about this plan that's believed an attack plan against Iran. I mean, they've got a lot of information in this, Jonathan.
No, it is an extremely damning indictment. There are indictments that are sometimes called narrative or speaking indictments. These are indictments that are really meant to make a point as to the depth of the evidence. There are some indictments that are just bare bones. This is not. The special counsel knew that there would be a lot of people who were going to allege that the Department of Justice was acting in a biased or politically motivated way. This is clearly an indictment that was drafted to answer those questions. It's overwhelming in details. And, the Trump team should not fool itself. These are hits below the waterline. These are witnesses who apparently testified under oath, gave statements to federal investigators, both of which can be criminally charged if they're false. Those witnesses are directly quoting the president in encouraging others not to look for documents or allegedly to conceal them. It's damaging. And the key here to keep in mind is that every case I've ever been involved with, the indictment was a heart stopper. These are written by lawyers who are trying to convict a client. Every indictment I've ever dealt with has fallen apart to some degree once we look more carefully at what the evidence may be. But this is not an indictment that you can dismiss.
Watch me.
I mean, you got Turley here saying clearly what happened with this indictment too is that it is not just the charge. They have basically laid out the case. Like they've provided all of this evidence up front. And I think they felt like they must have had to do to justify the indictment. Here is, and then Turley comes back. I guess this is like what, I don't know, shortly
a few hours later, yeah.
And they have pictures of the documents. This wasn't a situation where it's like, I didn't realize it was behind the coats. No.
I love saying, wouldn't it be better if there was no documents? As you look at pictures of just a whole bunch of cardboard boxes of documents. How do you accidentally end up with that?
Oh, no. I think we were in bathrooms.
This stuck to the bottom of my shoe.
Oh, I didn't know that was in my backpack.
Put up the image. Yeah. This stuck to the bottom of my... Did we have that? I'm sorry. I thought that was on pallets. I don't know why we put it on pallets. Okay, go ahead.
Weird. Jonathan, this is the first time our viewers are starting to get a look at some of these pictures. The boxes piled up in various locations there at Mar-a-Lago. Going back to that picture that was on the screen just a moment ago, clearly there were boxes photographed in this indictment that were in a bathroom with a toilet and a sink next to it. To John's earlier point about this could have been a space that was accessed by any visitors to the estate.
Yeah, it's really breathtaking.
Pause it for 1 second. I just want everybody to know, I like to read in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's what's going on
Okay,
here.
that's where I do my research.
I was just boning up. I said, bring them all into the bathroom. I'll look through them to see if there's any ones that are top secret.
Point about this could have been a space that was accessed by any visitors to the estate.
Yeah, it's really breathtaking. Obviously, this is mishandling. Putting classified documents into ballrooms and bathrooms is borders on the bizarre. And these are the types of pictures that hit you below the waterline in a trial. I mean, jurors tend to be very visual in terms of evidence.
Yeah.
And it's hard to show a picture of these boxes surrounding a toilet and saying, we really acted responsibly. Now, we haven't really heard from the Trump team on these specific allegations. But also keep in mind, there's a bit of count stacking here. That is, the government's bringing dozens of counts. They only have to land one of those punches. I mean, keep in mind that every one of these counts is coming with a substantial potential sentence. So for the Trump team, they have to run the table. They have to take out every single count. Or you've got a 76-year-old man looking at a potentially terminal sentence. So
we can end
this
on
is a
that.
big challenge.
Turley, whoa.
Yeah, well, I'll get the best lawyer. He'll be able to handle all of these, no problem.
I'm going to live forever.
Jonathan, you'll die before me, okay?
I work in the hospitality industry. You know, when you put a little basket with magazines for your guests in the bathroom, I'm just trying to make people all cozy and nice in Mar-a-Lago.
The bottom line, though,
material.
is really that there is going to be assuming that Trump does not have a heart attack over all these things, and there's every reason to believe there's going to be a whole nother set of charges completely unrelated to this within 2.5 months out of Georgia, and that's what we were led to believe by the DA there, I guess. But this is going to turn out to be a race between Trump's ability to delay and November 7th, 2024 election? Is it the 7th? This is just going to be a race. And my guess is Trump is going to be able to slow the process or maybe, go and appeal a conviction. Because, look, I have no way of assessing this stuff. But if Jonathan Turley is out there on Fox News now saying, I've seen a lot of indictments that really fall apart upon scrutiny, but
Yeah, when you've lost
this
him.
one seems like there's a mountain of evidence that we probably haven't even seen all the evidence.
It's
If
the
he's mentioning cannonballs hitting ships beneath the
Yes.
waterline multiple times.
Yeah.
But it's the same reason that Trusty and the other lawyers are resigning. Like, Turley understands I have a reputation to uphold at least slightly. I can't be kicked out of all of the hallowed legal halls in this country.
Oh, no,
And-
I don't even think that. I think it's just that, like, it's just too overwhelming.
Well,
like,
but-
there's just no
yeah,
room
exactly.
to argue. And it's going to end up in front of a court. Like, this isn't just a hypothetical, this is unconstitutional, or that's unconstitutional, or this or that. This is a done deal. This is going to end up in court, and it's going to be resolved there. And it does not seem like Trump is paying any political price for this.
Oh, my gosh.
As much as DeSantis is sitting there hoping that this is this is going to be the way that he's going to get the nomination if somehow Trump is in jail. But the other thing people should keep an eye out for, which I think is absolutely reprehensible, is the idea that the DOJ would make some type of deal where we stop pressing charges if you don't run.
Rachel Maddow made that case, by the way, on television. That's absurd.
I'm not terribly surprised.
Yeah.
But it would come from a lot of different quarters. I'm sure I think Geraldo did the other day too. It's absurd. It's absurd for multiple reasons. One, if you don't want a political criminal prosecution, then don't make your not involvement in politics a way for us to drop the charges, right? Like it couldn't be more explicit. We're going to threaten you with these charges unless you decide not to run, and then we're going to pull the charges.
That's a definition of corruption. That's not how any society should be responding to this.
Plus, the guy should be held accountable. And if the American people end up electing him president, despite the fact that this is going on, it's a bad thing, but interesting to know. But you're not going to be able to get past this if the DOJ just decides if you don't run, then we will drop charges. That's just absurd. That's just absurd. That is anything but trying to keep your criminal justice system and your politics separate.
I mean,
Please bribe me.
That's Nixon. It's like a derivation of the Nixon essentially resigning to escape any kind of justice on that front as well. I mean, that kind of thinking just lets powerful people get away with what they want to do.
No, but that's different because impeachment is, by its very nature, a political process.
That's true.
And he was not facing. Now, he could have faced criminal charges,
right?
But he was pardoned. But impeachment, he resigned to avoid impeachment. And impeachment is a political process, definitionally. It is not a criminal trial. And so that is a very, very important distinction for people to have. He was pardoned by Ford later, which may have made him escape any type of criminal proceedings, which is problematic in my estimation. But quitting the presidency because you want to avoid impeachment, that is all within the context of the political system.